Everybody knows what this brand is. Obviously. I mean, it's really hard to ignore. This website, this entity has literally become the most popular commerce website on the web. But did you know they're only the number 11th website in the world? There are actually one, two, three, four, five, six, seven Chinese websites above them. But two American sites, Google Search and YouTube, sit above those Chinese properties, and Facebook sits on top of Amazon as well. With that said, it is considered one of the most popular, if not the most popular, e-commerce websites and cloud computing websites on the internet. And they are, as I said, very popular for e-commerce, and they're number one at that, 45% of the United States. Can you imagine getting 50% of all commerce on the internet? Well, Amazon has basically that. They're also the number one cloud computing company in the world. People know it as AWS. In terms of subscribers to a commerce platform, they're number one. Amazon Prime, that's also ubiquitous. I mean, I'm not the type of person who would pay for something like that, but I've even become a subscriber just because of the many, many benefits that you get. And it's frankly the number one commercial website in the world in terms of monetizing, when you really, really think about it, as far as how they monetize purely online. And when you look at who they are in terms of the topic that we're talking about here today, they are the number one website when it comes to search engine optimization. They show up better than every other website in the world when it comes to, frankly, being online or at least having this presence when it comes to search. Now, this is the United States database. You did see in the previous slides that Chinese companies actually show up higher in terms of pure volume, but they don't necessarily show up as often as you'd think on the number one website, which is Google, and that is what Amazon does, at least commercially. The number one website above them that's not commercial is Wikipedia. So frankly, that outdoes them quite a bit. But when we talk about making money, Amazon does an incredible job. So much so, you can see they are worth close to $1.6 trillion. That's with the T, capital T, by the way. Excuse me. Yeah, I want to cough when I think about how much money that I could have made years ago when I was at Amazon, and it was only $12 a share. Yes, $12 a share. I would probably have at least $3 million, if not more, if I would have stayed. But at that time, the stock wasn't moving. And we're going to talk about that here in a second. It's also made this guy, this laughing individual, the richest person on the planet. Yes, he has actually been the richest person, or is the richest person, and has been the richest person for a number of years now, despite Bill Gates actually being the person above him for many years before the past few years. But it has not always been a happy story to get where he is, or you think that this was something that happened overnight in the way that it's shared all the time, but it is not. You can see this period of time. I was actually here. Do you see that? I was at the company around 2001, and right before they went profitable, and so I was at the tail end of their worst loss and joined somewhere around here. And so I got to experience, frankly, this time where they finally went pro forma positive. So maybe we should give myself credit. If it wasn't for me, they wouldn't have reversed that. Just kidding. But in all seriousness, it was definitely not a pretty picture before all this craziness that's been happening as of late. So the question begs itself, or, it's people are wondering, how in the heck did this site, this man, and basically this business become as big as they are? So you obviously know this is an SEO channel. So it's really easy to predict that's what I'm going to say. But let's dive deeper. Let's actually see exactly how SEO has built this amazing, amazing website. So first off, you go into this tool that I use on a regular basis to find out they have close to 3 billion visits every single month. So this tool lets us see various metrics rather including site duration, pages per visit, etc., and how often they basically bounce. That's pretty low, by the way, for people who just jump into their website. It also tells you where the traffic's coming from. So it's not from China, and that's interesting, because if we were dominating, or rather Amazon was dominating in China, they would probably be above even Google. But it actually is primarily the United States, a little bit from Canada, the UK, and a little bit from India besides China, and also 247 other countries. But this is what we want to talk about. Close to 30% of their traffic comes from organic searches. Yes, 30%, or close to that is. Yes, they have a lot of direct traffic, but this only occurs after years and years and years of having amazing SEO. This direct traffic does not occur where they just automatically go to it. It took a long time. I mean, do we need to go back to this slide? I mean, it was a journey from 98, so over a 20-year journey. So don't think about this as much, but think about how this compares to all these other channels. Like social is not that significant, or referrals is not that significant compared to search. And I'll be honest, if you look at the overall traffic, 27%, 28% is quite large. So you can see here with more detail, it's actually 91% of their search traffic. So that's why I said that it's organic search, and 9% is paid. So they spend millions of dollars still, which does make sense for a lot of the terms that, frankly, they might need extra help in. So again, the reason why they're so successful is SEO. And if you haven't figured out what SEO is, we'll give you a little bit of a taste today. But let's examine how SEO actually is leveraged by this huge, huge website. So 1.2 billion of their visits every single month come from organic search. And you can see it's been growing. It's been growing over the years. Most of them are, basically branded terms. But with that said, let's look at some other, I guess, analytics to identify whether or not it's something that is just branded that they built up over the years. It's actually much more different. You can see there's 89.6 million keywords that they rank for, and they're not 89 million permutations of Amazon. They're actually permutations of unbranded terms. So if you actually pull out in this tool that I use where you exclude their brand name, you can see they're number one for toilet paper, Lysol spray, hoverboard, LED lights, desk. So many terms that you'd be blown away. And let's look at a little bit of that toilet paper search or Lysol spray. You can see that they show up number one organically for toilet paper, especially now during COVID. This is a great time to actually show up. Lysol spray, same thing. And again, maybe a good time, or frankly, it's not even maybe, it is a good time to show up number one for that. Sure, there's ads above them and perhaps other types of SERP features or search engine results page features. But we'll talk about that maybe more in a later video, and why these are actually better results in a lot of ways. And how often? Yeah, they're sought after 1.5 million times a month just for that one phrase, and 1.22 million times for that Lysol spray. So now multiply the 84 million to maybe 89 million different terms by these numbers, and you'll see they get a lot of organic benefit. So what exactly is this SEO that I keep on talking about? So it's basically two things. If you haven't heard from me in previous presentations from the Founders Network to many individual one-on-ones to literally across the globe in terms of how I like to share SEO, it's two specific things. It's that basic, plus a little bit extra, which I'll talk about here today. It's content and it's credibility. But let's examine content here a little bit. So if we look at the search for toilet paper, you'll see the number one result is Amazon, and the number two result is from that website that ranks above Amazon overall. But why is this showing up versus this? You'd think that this reference site, which has lots of great content, would be better content than this commercial website. Or is it? Well, I will tell you some more things about content signals before examining that particular toilet paper search. A couple other items that Google looks for in your title and in terms of your meta description are things that highlight what you are as a site. And this is your basic number one step you need to do for your website. You need to identify to Google who you are as a brand and what you represent. And this is something that many people fail on. You can see that the number one priority for Amazon after their brand is online shopping. The second thing is electronics, and the third is apparel. These are very, very important. You can see ... They go beyond the 55 to 65 characters because they want to give Google more signals. Also, in the meta description, they tell you they're a free delivery company on millions of items with Prime Amazon. They didn't, or Amazon Prime. They didn't need to put Amazon here again because they know that Amazon's basically assumed here, right? The next thing they use is low prices. So you have to understand these terms are very, very strategic because there's only 155 to 165 characters that you can see, not just for SEO benefit, but also to help people or consumers understand what it is and actually is copy, strategic copy that makes you want to click through. And so these are other things that you can do on your website. So it's not just about creating amazing, content, but also giving content signals to Google and the top search engines. Well, diving deeper into that toilet paper search and telling us exactly why Amazon outdoes, Wikipedia, I can tell you one thing. Do you know on the right-hand side where the scroll bar sometimes gets smaller and smaller if the page is longer and longer? If you do a quick comparison between the pages, you can see that Amazon page is longer than the Wikipedia page. So number one, they outdo literally Wikipedia in terms of content straight up on the page. So that's number one. Number two, you actually will see a lot of different brands, a lot of variety in that content, all signaling semantically what is basically toilet paper. Whereas here, it's probably redundant. It's very, very boring, I'll be honest. And it's not something that is as compelling. And that's something deep in terms of the search algorithm that you have to understand. Google's also measuring engagement. Also, we have to think about intent. Are people buying toilet paper or are they looking to learn about toilet paper when they search toilet paper? So I would say today, it's a lot about the buying behavior. And that's why Amazon may be winning just purely on that. It also depends on the time. And that's what I was just talking about. Today, during COVID, maybe the commercial interest is more important. After COVID is over, maybe the Wikipedia article starts showing up. Toilet paper was not a priority for Amazon, I'll be honest, or the world a year ago. But now it is. That 1.5 million searches a month, that's a recent phenomenon. People were not searching that often the year before 2020. Also, you can find some other ways to understand the intent by looking at whether or not you put extra words in the phrase, and that's long tail searches versus short. So there is some really interesting phenomena that's occurring when people are searching for certain words. One thing you didn't see, or at least I didn't highlight, is that Amazon also ranks number one for A. And why? Because Google's figured out when people type in A, their intent typically is to go to Amazon. One other suggestion, just a little tip, is that you'll also want to look at the suggestions. Yeah, so right below your search, they will help you understand more and more as to what Google is looking for in terms of that intent. So you can see a couple brands, Scott, Charmin in here. It also looks like a purchase because toilet paper online, right, in stock, those kind of terms are literally being highlighted. There's also a term here for a suggestion, toilet paper game. So interesting, it's not just purchasing or reference. There's also a game out there. So, this will help you understand what is that intent and why perhaps one site outdoes the other in terms of showing up in the SERP. So it's a great place to look for ideas. It can also depend on the local location or the culture. So here I'm actually searching from Los Angeles. So maybe I have a little bit of a different intent of toilet paper than I do perhaps in another country where English is not the first language, right? Also, different cities think in different ways. We'll talk about that more possibly in a later video. And then also look at the different SERP features. So throughout the entire search engine results page are different types of results. that will also give you some ideas. So not only images are shown here, but maybe the types of images. And so understand you can get a lot of different ideas by just looking at and studying the search engine results page. All right. The second C in SEO is credibility. Let's think about this. How do people, frankly, get more famous? It's usually because other people back them. Well, the way of backing people in the internet or on the internet is through backlinks. So we're examining the 5 top e-commerce websites or commercial websites that frankly sell product online, and the top 5 that organically rank. You can see that Amazon has the most referring domains. It has 7.7 billion backlinks and many referring IPs, which means basically the website addresses that are pointing to it. And frankly, has other signals that show why it's a better site. Sure, eBay, our old school competitor many, many years ago, has a similar authority score, has a lot of backlinks, actually more than, frankly, Amazon. But here's the key. Think about this. Quality. Quality? Maybe not. Maybe eBay was doing some short-term things, and that's why today Amazon is winning. But you can see in terms of the referring IPs that Amazon beats them all. So Amazon has the most diverse set of IPs or places pointing to them. So this is something to consider when it comes to backlinks. Also, a little secret that a lot of people don't know is that Amazon's affiliate program, Associates, was one of the biggest reasons why Amazon is succeeding here today and was succeeding historically. I used to know Colin, the guy who ran the department. And frankly, he is an incredible guy, and he made one of the best affiliate programs in the entire world. And because of that, people point their websites to Amazon for the sake of trying to make a few dollars here and there. Now, if you ask me, is it a good idea to build out websites to point to Amazon and make a lot of money? Well, short term, yes. But long term, I would say you're just feeding the beast. And that is why Amazon is really winning when it comes to SEO. And if you look at some of the top commerce sites on the web and the top affiliate programs, you will also see that, frankly, they have great affiliate programs, and that is helping them do very, very well. One last bit that I want to share here today, which I didn't share historically because it's become more of an important issue these days than it has been in the past. And technical SEO has become more and more important because Google is starting to judge you on certain factors that will help consumers consume your information on the website or whatever feature like images or other forms of content that you basically deliver to consumers who are searching. And they are, well, let me tell you before this, a lot of people do think about technical SEO as very complicated, but I will tell you it's not rocket science. And that's why I put the slide in here today. It's not that complicated. If someone like myself can figure it out, you can figure it out. So much so, I did a really quick guide here today that tells you exactly what you should hit off, at least in terms of maybe at least 10 things. So in 2021 or beyond, just take care of this all. It's really easy. First off, make your website secure. Number 2, make it fast. Hire a good host. Don't be cheap when it comes to that. Number 3, make sure that Google can see you. Go to Google Search Console, sign up, make sure that you put your sitemap in there and allow Google to know what's going on your website right away. Number 4, canonicalize all your pages. Make sure that Google knows which page is the main page for the 5 or 6 or 20 different versions of a single page. Did you know that HTTP, colon whack whack could be the same type of content as HTTPS colon whack whack, or sometimes with or without the www? We have to tell Google exactly what page to give credit. Also, a few things. Make sure you're doing housekeeping on a regular basis. Take care of your broken links, both inward and outward, all right? Oh, very, very, very important is mobile friendly websites. Google now judges your site in terms of the mobile experience. So make sure you handle that. Another few set of tips is make sure semantically your URLs are friendly. You don't want to have all this code in the URL address. Structured data is becoming very, very, very important. Jump on the FAQ, schema topic if you possibly can, because that will help you. In terms of site depth rather, and redirects, these are maybe a little bit more confusing. So hit on the other 8. We can talk about this stuff in, again, maybe later videos. But this is basically what you need to do in terms of your technical SEO. Once you're done with all that, come back to us and we'll tell you more as far as all the other things to kind of help you. And you will be in SEO heaven after you take care of the 2 C's and these 10 different technical SEO aspects. All right, that was a lot. Probably way more than you expected, or at least more than I even planned on saying here today. And that's part of the reason why I didn't share a lot of that information in previous presentations, because there's a lot just on one specific company. If I examine any other company, it would take twice as long, 3 times as long, 4 times as long. I could talk about Amazon forever. But if you haven't gotten the point by today or by now, I'm sorry, I can't really help you anymore. I just at least wanted to elucidate how valuable and how smart and great SEO can be for you if you do it correctly. So if you do want more of me talking about this or any guides, if you want to give me some feedback, I'd be happy to listen and read that feedback. Email me at Brandon@Organic SEO. Or I can just continue to give you more videos, blog posts, and every other form of content that exists on the web. Thanks for visiting, and thanks for listening to me, and hope you got something out of this. Again, my goal here is just to make sure that all of you understand the value of one of the most revolutionary and best forms of online marketing today.